Lizzie, going to Lizzie here, you said in your youth you made, and these are your pre-show notes here, you made a lot of poor choices that make it impossible for you to ever be considered traditional or chaste. I know you touched on it a little bit. Can you tell us what those poor choices were?
Oh boy. Sorry, Mom. Well, high body count, I'm sure we'll get into that later.
Mm-hmm.
I did cheat on a couple guys, one when I was 19 and one when I was 21, and it was wrong. They were good men, and I'm sorry I did it.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the main ones. And I think also just having an overinflated ego, because I fell into the trap where I thought, oh, these guys are sleeping with me. That means something. It doesn't, unfortunately. So, yeah, I think that's pretty much the main...
When did you have the change of heart?
You're 31 or...
35.
35,
yes.
Okay.
I would say, because it was a gradual process, and it's been expedited substantially since meeting my latest partner. He's changed my life. I love him so much. I am the luckiest, I feel like the luckiest girl in the world that I found him. Thank goodness. But I would say 28. 28 was when I first, because I think that was the beginning of what they say of like hitting the wall sort of thing. So I looked at myself, and I just, I looked at what I wanted to do, being a mother. I'd be happy to be a stay-at-home mom. I'm open to that. In California, it's not really practical, but yeah, so I'd say 28.
You also wrote...
Was this for... Oh, sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, is this change of heart for practical reasons, or was it for other than practical reasons?
I'd like to say it was other than practical, but I'll be real, it was practical. I was realizing that I was, I was just full of emptiness and loneliness, because I would spend time with these guys, and even up until recently, I've always said, oh, I don't regret it and whatever. And I mean, whether I regret it or not is kind of irrelevant. But
well, it's relevant.
Okay.
That's why I'm wondering which part is pragmatism and which part is why I actually made a mistake that I'm ashamed of.
I think that I'm ashamed of cheating. That one was an easy shame. I wish I had done that. I'd say that the high body count... For a long time, I would say even right up into meeting my latest boyfriend, I kind of wore it as a badge of honor. But I think what also really changed is that my current boyfriend has a daughter, and she's 10, and so I have to now translate everything that I'm doing into, if she did that, what would I think about it? And I'm like, oh snap, like that would not be good if she did a lot of the stuff I did. So.
All right. You did say you slept with way too many people.
Yep.
You said you lost track
Yep.
of your body count. Your guess is what?
Oh. My guess is around 100. I'm so sorry.
I think you said here in the notes over 100.
Yeah. So, I have, I'll just say over 100, yeah.
You also said you were very risky with your sexual behavior.
Mm-hmm.
Did not always...
Use protection. Yep. Should have. Really bad.
And you mentioned the cheating.
Mm-hmm.
I actually want to applaud you for being open and, saying these things. A lot of people would not be willing to disclose this sort of thing. So I certainly applaud you for your honesty.
Well, it's not about me. Like I came on this podcast and I know I might get canceled for some of what I say, but I'm trying to do what's right.
I don't think you'll be canceled. Andrew might get canceled. I might get canceled for having this Chilean military officer. Okay. He's gone AWOL. He is, okay. I know you wanted to talk about, in your notes, you said you wanted to talk about dating as someone who is overweight.
Mm-hmm.
A question for you though, have you always been overweight your adult life?
Yep, the whole time pretty much.
Okay.
Yep.
Is there anything specific that you wanted to, because you said you'd like to discuss dating as your words, not mine, dating as a fat woman.
Yeah. I get really frustrated with the fat acceptance movement, because on the one hand, I get it. I'd prefer to not have random strangers come up to me and verbally express their opinion of my body shape. That would be preferred. That being said, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I don't have health issues and I'm just as healthy as someone of one of these ladies' body weights. I think that's all baloney, and I refuse to say that something is true when it is not. And I'm also not going to say that a person who doesn't want to date me is fat phobic. I think that's absolutely ridiculous. I think it is a totally reasonable thing for a man to look at me and have that be a concern. I think it's a biological and logical choice. I get it.
Don't you think, too, when you're talking about the fat shame thing, that it's not about random strangers approaching heavy women in the street and talking smack to them? That's not really what it is. It's just a matter of what society wants to push towards as a standard or as something which is promoted. That seems like it's a distinction, right? So I don't think anybody was ever like, yes, run over to heavy women in the street and be like, hey, fat, you know what I mean? Nobody ever was saying that. They were just saying that, on the other hand, kind of pushing people towards the acceptance of overweight women as being some kind of standard or as some kind of good for the world.
Yeah, I
that's what it's about.
I
really.
think that's morally irresponsible to do that. And I've said this before in private, but I think that it's as unhealthy to have a woman who's exceedingly underweight on a magazine cover as it is having Tess Holliday on a magazine cover, because they're both extremes of unhealthiness, and I would prefer to see normal, healthy women. I think that would be the best thing for society.
Oh, yeah.
Solid.
That was beautiful.
I absolutely agree.
Yeah.
The pragmatism part, though, kind of going back to this, you said that you held, and I'm just wondering, from the promiscuity side, were you promiscuous because you were always heavy, and so that was a form of male validation?
Yeah, I think that was definitely the trap that I fell into. Yeah.
And is that why you wore that as a badge of honor?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah.